Hi guys, welcome to Charmy's Bookcase, where I, Charmy Terrell, review and discuss books I've read. This week is going to be a little different. Not only do we have a special guest, Brenda.
Hey you guys, it's Brenda from the Retro Floor podcast, which is literally right now.
But we're also going to be discussing Mike Flanagan's new series, The Fall of the House of Usher. And that's a really long title, and so I'm just going to call it The Fall, because I'm not going to keep saying that long-ass title.
I've literally been calling it The House of Usher.
The House of Usher?
The House of Usher. And they'd be like, oh, okay.
Okay, I'll just do that one then. House of Usher. My love for this show holds no bounds. Like, it literally jumped to my favorite Mike Flanagan show. Before, it was Blind Manor, and this show just knocked it off the top. I know you didn't watch the other ones.
No, I started The House.
I think you started Hill House,
and I got scared, and I was like, I can't watch
You know what's so funny? She doesn't want to watch these shows because she gets scared, but she does so many, like, true crime, murder stuff, and I'm like, how can you, like, listen and, like, watch that, but you can't watch Hill House in them? Like,
I don't know. I feel like my mind is telling me, like, when things are like, this cannot happen, and I'd be like, this is happening, the ghosts are looking at you, they want to kill you. Like,
also, you know what, true crime is more in reality. Like, you can, like, fight off an attacker, while you can't really fight off a ghost.
No, at all. Like, what? I mean, I can recite scripture to you, but I feel like you're gonna recite it back to me. So
yeah, it's like
demon's gonna be like, yeah, I know scripture too, what's good?
Like before Blind Manor, but now I guess my rank could be The House of Usher, Blind Manor, Midnight Mass, and Hill House. Like, people love Hill House. It was okay to me. I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for that, but it was like, it's my last right now. Like, I love the other ones.
I think if I wasn't scared, I would love it.
I think you would love Blind Manor, because it's like a horror story, but it's really a love story. I think you would like that one. It's not as many jump scares as the other ones.
Yeah, Hill House had way too many jump scares. I thought I could watch this at night, and that was the biggest mistake I made.
Yeah, I really feel like Blind Manor is people's least favorite because it's not as scary. But, you know, and he also did this other show called The Midnight Club, which I didn't watch because I heard mixed reviews. So,
I saw that. I was looking at his filmology. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
And I was like, Midnight Mass, and I saw Midnight Club, and I was thinking, like, am I tripping, or are they the same thing?
They're two different things.
Yeah, they're two different things.
Yeah, so tell me in the comments if you think I should watch that and give it a go. Because I know it also comes with a book, too.
Also, bully me in the comments to watch Hill House.
And the other ones. Anyway, The Fall, or The House of Usher, adopts many of Edgar Allan Poe's popular works, not even some of his own works as well, too.
Wait, you guys read this in school?
Yeah, well, we read...
free time. Well, you're right. I read The Telltale Heart. That's the only one I read in school.
And I don't know if we had to read The Pit and Pendulum, but it was in our books. That are no textbooks, so you had to lug around. But before watching this, I think I only really knew Telltale Heart, The Pit and Pendulum, and like The Raven.
Yeah, I think I just knew
The Raven being like the most popular one.
I knew Telltale Heart.
The other one,
the one in the catacombs.
Yeah, the Cask of Amontillado. Yeah, that one.
That one I knew.
That was my favorite.
The Raven, I knew.
Yeah, because The Simpsons.
Yeah, because The Simpsons, and it made me mad, so I went to go look at it, and I was like, the story still makes me mad, but okay.
Yeah. In this video, I'll be discussing the different stories adapted into the show and how Flanagan effortlessly weaves these stories into the show so beautifully.
Yeah,
like,
he did
it's not even like forced.
Right.
Like, it just blends in. It was like so good.
It was very subtle in a lot of it.
Yeah.
Very subtle.
This video will contain spoilers, so if you haven't seen the show and don't want to be spoiled, I suggest you stop watching now. Without further ado, let's get into this. The House of Usher centers around the Usher family and its decline as the owners of a powerful pharmaceutical company after many deaths of its family members. The deaths are mysterious and weird, and seemingly random to everyone but us, the viewers who know the truth behind these deaths. The House of Usher wasn't always a rich and powerful house. They came from humble beginnings, with their mother working as a receptionist at the same pharmaceutical company they will later take over, Fortunato. Their mother was a very religious woman, though she did have an affair with the company's owner at the time, and this affair resulted in the birth of twins Rodrick and Madeline Usher. Their mother, Eliza Usher, becomes very sick, and upon her death, they bury her in their backyard, knowing that her religious beliefs wouldn't want her to be embalmed. But she's not really dead. Which happens in a lot of Poe stories, like they bury people alive a lot and they tend not to be dead.
Yeah.
I don't know why. He just loves the resurrection.
He's a big, firm believer of Lazarus.
Yeah. So she breaks out of her coffin and then kills her lover who, like, scorned her for not really accepting her. And though I don't really know if she was alive or her zombie came back.
Look, all I know is her lover sucked.
Yeah, he was an ass.
He was definitely an ass. Like, how are you over here making these demands and you're in the wrong? Like,
really?
I mean, she was in the wrong too, but like, you actually took a commitment, a vow. Like, she didn't, so...
Yeah, like, I was like, is she really dead or is it her vengeful spirit coming back? Like,
whatever
one
it was.
last,
Well, whatever it was, she definitely killed him, and I can't even say I felt bad.
Yeah, I didn't feel bad either. Fun fact, Poe's mother was also named Eliza, and she too died when Poe was young. Well, I guess it's not a fun fact, but it's a fact. Upon finding out about their father, the notion that the company was their birthright became the twins' sole goal, and with the company, they would change the world. Though the twins had two different ways of saving the world, Rodrick tried to get rid of the world. Not get rid of the world.
Oh my god, Rodrick, why?
He tried to rid the world of pain. That's what I meant to say. Through like medicine and stuff. Well, Madison really focused on immortality. She did that through computers and AI, which is like really scary how close they are. Like today, you ever see that app where like they mimic singers' voices?
Yeah, AI is scaring me.
Like,
I saw iRobot and I did not like how that movie ended, okay?
I actually did like that movie.
I like that movie too,
a lot of hate,
for
though.
a movie, but not for reality.
Yeah. The way these two take over the company takes notes from my favorite Edgar Allan Poe story, The Cask of Amontillado. In the story, a party is happening and the narrator tricks his arch nemesis, Fortunato, remember that name? That's where the company gets its name from.
Which means fortunate in Italian.
Yeah.
See, I looked that up.
And at the time, Fortunato is just in a jester outfit. Jester. You know what I'm talking about. The narrator lures him into his basement with a promise of a bottle of Amontillado, which I guess is a big deal. I really don't know much about alcohol. I don't drink.
I drink and I don't even know anything about it. I saw 1925, so I assume that's like really good wine.
Like she drinks, but we're not wine people.
Right. I just drink what tastes good.
Yeah. It's like there's nothing in the world that will make me follow you down into a basement.
I don't know, man. I'm not even gonna comment on that because I don't know, man. I'm not gonna say never.
Like there's really nothing.
If you tell me my family's down there, I might go down there. I will go down there with weapons. Like I'm gonna go down there with a plan, but I can't guarantee I won't go down there.
I don't know. Even then, I'd call the police. Like I don't know what's down there.
Yeah, I will call the police, but I'm still gonna go down there and be like, yo, just know if I died, I died a hero. But
I died for my family.
Right. Or $1 million.
No, make it $1 billion. Okay.
Right, and you definitely, I'll be leading the way down there. Like, oh, this is that.
Okay, never mind. There's a way to get down there. Money. The narrator pretends to be friends with Fortunato and gets him drunk, then leads him down into the catacombs. When he is so drunk he passes out, the narrator chains him to a wall and breaks him in a small room. And this is what Rodrick and Madeline do to their arch nemesis, Rufus Griswold. And another fun fact that's just actually fun. Rufus Griswold was a man that was like Poe's #1 critic in real life. Like, he talked shit about his work. And so it was really funny how they made him like an enemy in here.
Well, he is an enemy. He a hater.
Yeah. But what if he's like right? Like, okay, I read some of those Poe stories and they're wordy. Like,
I agree. They are definitely wordy. But there's a thing about talking crap, and then there's a thing about like constructive criticism.
Yes.
And if you're not giving constructive criticism and you're just talking crap just to talk crap for the hell of it, yeah, I don't like that. But constructive criticism, I do appreciate.
Now the show's Rufus Griswold was an asshole, so I didn't really feel bad what happened to him. Who was in charge of a drug trial that caused many deaths, and he tried to blame it on Rodrick. And to get back at him for that, they take over the company and also, bury him alive. Yeah.
I literally can't say I felt bad. I can't say I felt bad for some of these deaths. Like, some of these deaths I did feel bad for, and some of them I was just kind of like, what did you expect? I
know. Rufus, just before he dies, praises Rodrick's name and tells his high praises to, the higher-ups, and, they give Rodrick the job when Rufus disappears, and I'm doing air quotes, because we all know what really happened.
Right. Also, like, to piggyback on Rufus, it was just kind of like, how he talked to Madeline before, and then like after all this happened, like, oh my god, you're my hero. Like you literally just
was like shit talking.
Right, you literally belittled me, and now I'm your hero.
Like look, we're besties.
Right? No, you're going to be walled up.
Yeah. And that's like the worst way to go. Though they did poison him.
Yeah, I feel like she said he didn't make it to the morning. So, but cyanide poisoning, man. I've looked into a few cases on that, and I don't know, man. Maybe suffocation is better.
I don't know. They're both scary. Like being buried alive is scary.
Yeah, especially with your thoughts. Like if you bury me alive at a radio, it might be a little bit better than you bury me alive with my thoughts.
What I also did like is that even after they killed him, they all like took personality traits from him. Like there's a whole scene where he literally Rodrick mimics Rufus's like speech, and another scene like, man, you just like talk crap and then you go take his speech.
It's not about sticking together. It's about forming a fucking wall.
We are a unit. This isn't just about sticking together. This is about forming a fucking wall. We're all at fucking battle stations right now. I am the commanding officer, and I don't want to hear anything out of your mouth that isn't sir. Yes, sir. Do you get me?
You get me?
Yeah.
You murder him and take his speech?
Yeah, he said it works.
And Madeline also does it too. I forgot what scene it is, but there's a scene where like she even like takes speeches from him too.
To be honest with you, her doing that doesn't shock me.
Really?
Yeah, I just did not. I'm not gonna say I don't care for her. I'm all for women empowerment, but I'm not for women empowerment like destroying a whole bunch of other people's lives.
Yeah. And just as they wall him in, like you can hear the jingle jingle because both Fortunato and Rufus were wearing the jester like outfit, and like the jingle jingle literally haunts them like when they're old.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? The gesture jump scare did not scare me. That was that was like the one jump scare that did not scare me. Every other jump scare scared me.
It did, and the first jump scare of the gesture in the first episode also got me. And I was I was standing up like really in front of like 2 inches from the TV.
Why?
I don't know, but I was watching it. I just screamed and jumped. It got me, man. It got me.
Flanagan and his freaking jump scares.
I know. I would say though that this story, the Cask of Amontillado, was dragged out. Like they hinted to it in every episode, and I was getting sick and tired of being like almost getting to the juicy part and then them just skipping to another scene.
Right. It's just like they're giving you a little appetizer.
Like it was fun at the first few episodes, but like this is episode 6. Get to the point, and we still got 2 more episodes to go.
To be fair, that is Edgar Allan Poe's like MO. His stories are great, but I literally was reading it and I was just like, bro, like I could have edited half of this stuff out.
Yeah,
but also this is a different time, so that might have been like the style back then.
Back then, they wanted a lot of words.
Yeah, I guess so. They didn't have much to do back then, so entertain them with words.
Yeah, like I was like, they were like dragging it through the mud. I'm like, get to it already. Following the murder of Rufus, the two go to a bar where they make a deal with Verna that they would face no consequences for their actions and live a privileged life, and in return, when they die, their bloodline dies with them. And at this point, Rodrick already has 2 kids with his wife Annabelle Lee, so I was like, man, you agreed to this and you have 2 kids already?
Yeah, that kind of just showed what a narcissist he was.
Like,
but you know what, I just didn't really, I felt that more from his sister. I was very shocked for him to say yes,
and he was the first one to say yes. And in that scene you can see it in Madeline's eyes, like she was hesitant.
She was shocked, kind of shocked to see him even say yes that quickly. Yeah,
like she was like, I don't think this is a good idea.
Right.
Like,
which was very shocking to see her think that.
Like she was one like holding back, and it's usually like they always say that Annabelle Lee was the angel on Rodrick's shoulder and that Madeline was the devil, but honestly I feel like Rodrick always wanted what Madeline wanted. It's just that she was more upfront with her.
Right.
Like she didn't shy away from her what she wanted, but he like was like playing a facade about it.
I feel like low-key he was kind of maybe a little scared of that being who he really is.
Yeah, and like after they murdered him, he just totally embraced it.
Yeah.
I also read like comments saying that Madeline, because of this deal, Madeline didn't have any kids. Though honestly, I feel like she was never gonna have any kids. I just feel like this, like she didn't want kids.
Yeah.
She even talks about it like when she talks about her, because she did get married and she did have husbands.
Yeah, husbands.
She didn't say how many, but she did say she had more than one, and that they wanted her to have kids, and she was like, that one line.
It's men, when they think they're immortal, all they want to do is, and when they figure out they're gonna die, all they want to do is.
I like that.
I feel like her brother had enough kids for the both of them.
He really did. You need to wrap it up.
Right. But, you know, he was like, I ain't got no consequences. Even though he kind of did.
He did. But the twins make a deal, and true to her word, they never get caught for any crimes or bad doings in their lives. You know, till the end, of course.
Right.
Now we're going to discuss all the children's deaths and how their deaths correlate to a different Edgar Allan Poe story.
But do you really think they even had to deal with the consequences of their lives? I just feel like they died. They didn't even really have to deal with everything that, like, yeah, they saw, like, there's that scene where he sees all the people that his product killed, but I still felt like he didn't give a crap.
But you know, I feel like he did regret the decision of making the deal because of all his children that died.
Yeah.
I feel like he did, like, and especially when his granddaughter died, he was like, oh, what did I do?
Right. Yeah, he should have adopted.
Yes. You know, if he adopted, none of this would be happening. Right. Well, the first two, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, but
his death, yes. But
yeah. But like the adopted kids could have taken over. So the first kid to die was Perry, aka Prospero, the youngest Usher. Now I really don't know why they started from youngest to oldest. I'm guessing it's to like reverse everything Rodrick was doing. With his newest creation being like the first one to die. Though if that was the case, I feel like Lenore should have died. Like you can make a case for her to die first. Like she was the youngest from like his son, who he also like. I don't know. I feel like
maybe it was like killing off, like going in that order. So if Perry would have had a kid, Perry would have died, and then the kid would have died.
Kind of feel like the kid died in Perry.
Maybe they wanted to get the closer.
Really hurt him.
Yeah, not even that. Like, I mean, like Perry would be more related to his dad than his grandchild would be. So maybe because the blood was thicker with him, the kid died later.
Honestly, I feel like I kind of wish Bori did cheat on Freddie, so that Lenore wouldn't have died.
Yeah, well, she didn't, unfortunately. I mean, fortunately, but unfortunately.
Yeah. Roger goes into Perry's story saying that Perry's crazy, though I feel like his older son Freddie takes the crazy cake. Like what he does is so crazy.
And I understand Fred, like his crazy, because like he's like that child who will do anything to get his parents' approval, and his parent is just like, not you.
Yeah.
Like whatever you do, everything you do, just not you, until you're literally the last option.
And I also feel like people feel like he's not much of a man. Like they always look down at him and talk so much mess about him.
He gave me people pleaser vibes.
Yeah.
But this is not about him. This is about Perry.
Yes.
And he sucks.
They all suck. Though I did like Leo. Perry's story really correlates with the Mask of the Red Death, which details this man named Prince Prospero, which Perry gets his name from. And he throws this fabulous party while this disease called the Red Plague is like running around his city. And as people are dying, he's just partying. Like, I'm rich, I can live behind my big castle walls, and nothing will touch me. Until this man comes in, dressed in a cloak and has a skull mask on. And, like, he's, like, causing a disturbance, and Perry goes after him. Prospero goes after him, and he screams and, like, falls dead, and, like, everyone in the whole castle falls dead. That really correlates with Perry because sets the party up in a facility that's toxic to everybody. Like, this is basically the plague that they're referring to in the show. I mean, the book.
It was giving me like narcissistic vibes. Like, there's a plague. Like, it's like you having a party in 2020 March. Like, we already know what's going on, and you're just like, I don't even care. We're about to party. Like, it's kind of like,
I don't care.
It's COVID. Why would you be doing that? We don't even know what this does yet. We shouldn't be throwing a party. And it was kind of the same with the Red Plague. Like, it was like killing people. He was like, well, I'm still gonna party. And even with Perry throwing a party at a toxic place, literally the floor was toxic, and he was just like, yeah, we're gonna party and just do each other.
Yes, like hedonism. That's what we got.
That's literally what that was. And
it really shows that death has no prejudice. Like, anyone can die. You can be rich, poor, young, old, beautiful, ugly.
Like they say, bullets ain't got no names. This ain't necessarily a bullet, but it's still saying that. It don't matter.
It really reminds me of the Titanic scene where he's like,
got a deal. Any more women and children? Your money can't save you any more than it could save me.
Yeah, like Cal trying to buy his way off the ship.
At that point, it was just like, bro, your money is useless.
And also, like, during the Perry's party, like, Verna tells all the kitchen staff and even Freddie's wife who was invited by Perry because Perry wanted to sleep with her to get back at Freddy. Family drama. But she did tell her to like leave, and she just didn't.
Yeah,
well, I do know why. But I'll just say that for her character analysis.
I was kind of curious about that too, because the other kitchen staff, her telling them, it felt like they were in a trance. Like they just did it without even realizing.
I feel like Maury did have a choice, and the other ones just didn't.
Yeah, I felt like they kind of had to do it. It was like she was telling. It was like they were in a trance. Like they couldn't control it. They didn't even look like themselves. It was like you could see them when they were interacting with people, and then like when she talked to them, they were kind of like a blank slate.
Yeah. I also like that each sibling had a color coordinated with them. So for Perry, it was red, and you see that in the scene where he's talking to Verna, everything is red. And then in the scene when he dies, it's red.
Yeah, I did not notice that.
You didn't notice that? Well, no, I was looking it up, like, what does red symbolize for him? And honestly, I really feel like it symbolizes passion. You know, like hedonism, sex, love, drugs, but also ambition. Because I feel like he really was trying to make himself, give that Usher title to himself.
Yeah, I feel like they kind of all, in a slight way, were like trying to get approval from their dad.
Yeah, like all of them.
I literally felt a little bit bad for him, though. I felt like everyone looked at him like,
yeah, because they all thought that he was the informant.
Yeah,
except for Victorine.
I don't know why, because I just could not put it past him being the informant and not getting
he doesn't
caught.
take anything really that seriously.
Yeah,
except for that party, which ended him. So
yeah, I kind of just. Even when they were talking about turning the water on, like, bro, can we test this water before we turn it on? Like, how long? This place is toxic. What's going on with these pipes and stuff?
Why did he not test it out first? Is what I don't understand.
I just feel like he didn't think this through. I feel like he wanted other people to think it through for him, and his friends were all druggies, so they definitely weren't thinking this through.
They all just followed his lead anyway.
Yeah, which kind of is like a thing with people in power.
The next child to die is Camille L'espanye.
I love her. Like, I love and hate her because, like, girl, like, if she's my boss, I would drop kick her. But, like, I did like her character.
And her story is similar to the story called The Murder in Rue Morgue, which, so were they in the actual story? Was it a morgue they lived in?
You know, that was the one story I did not read. I started it and I was just like 2 pages in and I was like, what is he talking about?
Okay, so that is the story that he, like, there's
I'm about to spark note that story.
There's a whole introduction of him just explaining, like, different ways of playing chess and different, like, intellects, and how the main character, Augustus Dupin, that's when his character comes in, and how he, like, is a detective and how he solves things and how he can, like, see different scenarios and look at different stuff a different way. And I'm like, that's cool, but that could also be shown through what the character does. You didn't need an introductory paragraph to tell us.
Maybe the people in the 18th century needed that.
I feel like he really, it was like show versus tell, and he really was telling. Like, show us instead of telling us. And so the story talks about how Auguste Dupin is, like, walking through the streets and hears about this murder of this mom and her daughter. And the murder is gruesome. Like, the girl's, like, throat was slit, like, so deep that it was barely, like, it was just hanging on the skin.
She, like, was basically decapitated.
Yeah, and, like, how, like, the daughter's body was shoved up the chimney, and, like, it was, the way he described it was gruesome, and I didn't realize how gruesome Poe's works were until I read it.
Oh yeah, he's definitely a gruesome person. I actually,
like, I don't remember reading this gruesome stuff in school.
Yeah, they're not gonna put that in there. But I actually listened to a dark history episode on him. You should listen to it. I will try to link it below because I can't remember who I listened to, but it was very good. Yeah, it was good information on Edgar Allan Poe. Kind of gave you an insight to him and why his stories are the way he is. They are, not him. I mean him too.
And it turns so Dupin does all his investigating, and turns out an ape escaped his, like, I don't want to say captor, but basically his captor, his homeboy, and runs down the street, you know, frantic, and he accidentally runs into the mom and daughter's house where he kills them and feels remorse, and so he shoves her up the chimney. I was like, oh my god. But he was able to figure this all out. No one went to prison or jail for that murder, by the way. Like,
but who's gonna? They're gonna.
But he should be responsible. The ape, his pet ape, killed somebody.
I agree that he should be, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe the laws were different. It's like, how do I try you for what your ape did?
Oh my god. But, like, I was looking up, like, the meaning behind the story, and it was really, the meaning was battle versus brains. And
What?
Yes, and I was like, okay.
Who, the ape? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm like, he got away with
it.
it.
Right, what's it? The ape's kind of smart, y'all.
Like,
he's using razors and everything.
Yeah, like, he really got away with it, so really, is it battles versus brains? But, like, the correlation to the show, how the daughter, Camille, was, like, calculating and very smart, and she was basically, like, their publicist. She hid all their dirty laundry and stuff. And even does a little shout out to the Rue Morgue by calling it Rodrick Usher's Experimentals, the Rue and Rue Morgue. And so it was first they called it Rue Zoo because they had all like the apes in it and all the animal testing, but then they figured out all those animals were dying, and so they called it Rue Morgue, which alluded to like the story, which I thought was like really cool.
Yeah, I have to say, Flanagan did pretty good. He very subtle with this.
Yeah, it wasn't like in your face. It was like little hints in there.
I read the stories before I watched the episodes.
And I did the opposite.
And so when I would read the story, I'd be like, huh. And then when I'd watch the episode, I'd be like, oh, like I would see it in the episode. See, like little Easter eggs. For you, it was the opposite. Like you were reading it and you would see the Easter eggs connecting to the show. Mm-hmm.
And like the color that associated with Camille was white, and you could see like her hair was white, her whole office was white, her house was white, like everything was white. And I like connected that to cold-heartedness because she really was like distant and calculating, but also boring. And I say that because like she even says it herself, like her job is literally to like talk, like hide other people's trash. Like, to find out what other people are doing and to, like, hide it or keep it filed for blackmail.
That doesn't seem boring to me because, like, you're nosy. You're in everybody's business. That's entertaining.
Yeah, but it's everyone else's business and none of your own. Like, you really are just like a fly on the wall.
I just spin. Dad decided that I belong in a room of smoke and mirrors, and I'm like a ceiling fan, and I spin and I spin and I spin and I don't go anywhere.
Just watching.
You know how many of us want to be flies on the wall? Like, I want to know tell me the tea, sis. But I guess if that was my entire life, just only knowing about other people and not really knowing who I was as a person, I guess I would feel empty. And I guess I could see that in her.
And which is why she sleeps with her assistants to feel something.
Right. That one line where she was like, don't talk to me until I come 3 times. I was like, dang girl, 3 times?
That's Tina and Toby, like.
My name isn't Tina, you know that my name is Beth.
I don't give a shit, Beth. Damn it, Toby and fucking Tina makes me laugh. So at work, you're fucking Tina.
Like, I love that scene.
I do like her. I have to admit, out of all the Ushers, I liked her the most.
Really?
Oh, well, obviously the granddaughter I like the most because she's
well, I feel like she's like, we like her, she's good, but even the bad ones we like out of all the bad ones, which one you like, you'll say Camille.
Yeah, but I also like Camille and Leo's relationship, so maybe that's why
I love the scene where they got high together.
Yeah, I did like that, so maybe that's why I liked her. I can't relate to her, but I did kind of like her.
The third child to die is Napoleon, also known as Leo Usher, and his story really connects to the Black Cat story.
Look, I'm being frank with y'all. I'm not a cat person. And I feel like I'm not a cat person because cats remind me of myself, and sometimes I get on my own nerves and I don't want to be around me. Actually, so I don't think I should be around cats.
I actually love cats. I don't think I'll ever have a pet because that's just too much responsibility. But if I were to get a pet, it would be a cat.
A cat slapped me once when I was running my own business, and I get it because, like, if I was a cat, I would slap somebody even though they're not doing anything. But bro, like, why? Because I literally was nice to that cat.
In Poe's story, the Black Cat man, the narrator, he has, his wife and all these animals, and one of the animals is a cat. And he starts drinking a lot, and he becomes very aggressive towards his cat and his wife. And one day, his cat scratches him, and in a fit of rage, he kills it. He pops his eye out, and he hangs it, and he does some gruesome stuff to this cat.
Literally, there's so many easy ways to kill that cat, and he was not playing.
Manic rage is also another major theme that Poe writes about. People just be switching on a dime in his stories. And after he kills a cat, he's trying to hide his body,
which I'm not sure why, because it was a cat
with his wife. He didn't want his wife to find out what he did to the cat.
You know what? Yeah, I guess That makes sense.
Yeah, because, I don't know, you do that to a cat, I'm going to call
psychiatric. Well, if he wasn't killing the cat in very sadistic ways, he could have blamed it on another animal.
You know what? Yeah, because, like maybe the eye popping out could have passed for another animal.
But the cat hanging, if my horse hung a cat, we got a problem.
Like, your horse is too smart.
Right. We can be thinking of that horse on Adventure Time taking off his gloves.
That deer.
Oh, yeah, it was that deer. That's what it was.
Oh, my God. But after he kills the cat, he buries the body, gives rid of the evidence. And then this another cat that looks so similar to the cat he murdered comes, hanging around. And so he's like, oh, well, I guess I don't have to explain what happened to the other cat. And then that cat starts, bullying him and, effing with him and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was probably the twin. He was like, I know what you did to my brother, and I'm not okay with that.
And then, he tries to kill a cat with the axe. And then his wife stops him, and in another fit of rage, he kills his wife.
Yeah, he should have just did to that cat what he did the first cat thing. He's
He's like, oh, crap, I killed my wife. And so he buries her behind a wall. And I forget what else happens. Something happens to his house, I forget. But the wall is the only thing that's left standing, and he takes pride in that.
Oh, I believe there was a house fire.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. And all his possessions burned up and everything.
Yeah, and that caused the police to come, right? Because then
I think his wife went missing.
Oh yeah,
the neighbors I think were complaining or something.
Yeah. And so the police come and they're like, your wife's missing. He's like, oh, she gone.
Oh, she's on holiday.
And then he took pride in the wall that didn't fall down, the wall he constructed. It was like, oh, it's the best wall ever. As the police are about to leave, they hear a cat meowing from within the wall, and he realizes that he buried the cat within the wall with his dead wife. And it's assumed that the police, broke down the wall, saw the dead wife, and then arrested him. But what if they're like, what, F cats, we don't care about them.
When I was reading that story, I was like, man, maybe the police in the 18th century really cared, because the LAPD,
honestly, they
do not care.
Yeah,
so they'd be like, get your own cat out. Bye.
Yeah, break the wall. Peace.
And they're like, this is not an emergency.
Oh my God. So this story, the black cat really connects to Leo's story, because in the story, him and his boyfriend have a cat, and Leo doesn't really like the cat from the start. I think that's just the boyfriend's pet that he moved in with Leo after they got together. Mm-hmm. And Leo and the main character and the black cat, they both abused substances. Mm-hmm. Leo with his drugs, man, he was taking so much drugs, and it was so much that I had to have Brenda explain it to me, because I'm not a drug person. I don't know what cocaine does to you.
I apparently am.
But she's more knowledgeable about it. I don't know what cocaine does. I don't know what anything that does. And she had to explain me he's doing uppers and downers and all this stuff, and they really should cancel each other out, and they're not.
Yeah, I feel like if you're doing uppers, there's no point in doing downers.
The cocaine will wake you up, but then
there's no point of the downers if you're gonna do cocaine. It's gonna pull you out of it. So
yeah, so I knew nothing about that. She had to explain it to me. So they're he was abusing drugs. The narrator was abusing alcohol. They're all being abusive, and I feel I don't know. Did the drugs make Leo more aggressive? It really. Oh, he blacked out. So we don't.
I don't know. I feel like the money made them all aggressive. So.
Yes, well, that definitely did. And actually, Leo, honestly, out of all the siblings, he's the one who's I liked him the most, because he showed empathy when Perry died, when Camille died. The rest of them, didn't care. They're just, but he's the only one who did care, and I liked him because of that.
I think the younger three were more empathetic and human to me than the older three.
Maybe because they had more time. They had less time with Rodrick and Madeline.
Probably yes.
And they just took the whole humanity out of the top three. I mean, Leo was doing so much drugs. It really reminded me of the guy from Wolf of Wall Street. I'm surprised Leo survived this long. As much drugs as he was taking, he should have died a long time ago.
Yeah, I don't think they can die.
Really?
I think that the agreement is that they have to die with their
set time.
Yeah.
Huh. So they could literally just get in a car crash and just drive off a cliff and just not.
That would explain.
That'd be an interesting theory.
But that's probably why they're so reckless. They're not really having to suffer a lot of consequences for what they do. Yeah, I was
the drugs he was taking.
Girl, I know.
How did he survive?
He was just popping them back like they were Tic Tacs. And he was the drug connoisseur. Everybody
really?
needed to go to him for drugs.
And both Leo and the narrator try to cover up their crime, and for it for them both to accomplish it and get away with it, and they're like, oh, okay, well, this was easy. But then have it thrown into her face and haunt them.
Like it was tormenting them.
Apparently Leo's color was yellow, and I didn't know how that correlated with him. Like
was
yellow.
it the cat's eyes? Were they yellow?
I don't think so. But yellow to me was like it symbolizes happiness and sunshine and all that.
Well, that cat was definitely happy to terrorize him.
But apparently yellow could also mean cowardice. I guess like hiding and not owning up to what he did.
That's true.
But
not even just with the killing of the cat. Like I feel like he used drugs as a way to not deal with reality.
Yes. Yeah, that's another way to look at it. It also can like link to illness. I don't really know why.
Well, if he continued the drug pattern, if he died from this agreement, he would have definitely died from
that
liver
drug
failure.
Yeah. Also caution. Like,
that's true.
Like I don't know how that relates to Leo.
Because he wasn't really cautious.
Yeah, even though his boyfriend was telling him maybe you should like lay off the drugs.
Yeah, he definitely.
And then he got defensive about it.
I don't really know. I mean, I get it. Like, no, I don't get it. I'm sorry. I tried to like play devil's advocate. No, I couldn't. I don't get it.
But apparently, yellow also links to betrayal, which I guess links to the killing of the cat.
Yeah, not even that. Bro was getting a BJ. Like,
oh yeah,
like when we like
he was cheating on his boyfriend.
What a chick.
I totally forgot about that. Yellow also links to egotism and anxiety. I don't think he get anxiety because he was on drugs all the time. But I think he did have a big ego.
But being on drugs, he could be on drugs because he has anxiety. That is another thing.
Oh yeah.
Some people use it as a way to cope.
His family would help with his anxiety. And also in Mexico, yellow, like from the marigold flower, symbolizes death. So
well, then they all should have been wearing yellow.
Yeah. Like yellow was his color. And I guess I get some of those like symbolisms that connect to him. But some of them like don't.
You know, the color thing is interesting. I'm gonna rewatch the show and look for the colors now.
Yeah, because it's when he's like hitting the walls, like then it's all yellow. When he's like smashing through the walls and there's holes everywhere, and he finds her body in the wall, which the boyfriend didn't see, which should be like a clue. Like you're the only one seeing this.
Well, to be fair, he's also a lot of drugs, so maybe he was just like, maybe the drugs have messed with my mind.
The next child to die after Leo was Victorine Lafourcade, and her story really goes with the Telltale Heart, like to a T. Honestly, I can see it like side by side. And in the story, this guy has a neighbor that he supposedly loved. He said that he loved him.
Is that his neighbor or was this his roommate?
I think it was his neighbor. And that he loved his neighbor. They were really good friends. But he had a vulture's eye, which just means like his eye was like white. We'll have you see it.
I don't know if the lady from
Is it Dragon to Hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she had it.
Okay, that's the first person who popped in my head. Yeah,
so he had an eye like that, and for some reason it irritated him so bad.
I mean, I understand it, but not to the point of killing somebody.
Yeah, so he like breaks into his house or apartment and smothers him with a pillow because of his eye, even though you liked the guy.
Bro, just get past the eye.
Really, make him wear eye patch.
Right. Don't even look at the eye.
Yeah. And so he like takes the guy and stuffs him under his floorboards, which I feel like is the worst way to get rid of a body. But he does it. And then the cops come, because the guy's been missing a long time, and they investigate. And, it goes over smoothly, the interrogation, until he starts hearing this bump, 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 which is like the guy's heartbeat. And it gets so intense that he literally loses his mind and exposes himself to the police like he's under the floorboards. Which really goes with Victorine. And I knew Victorine's story was it because of her heart mesh. And if you ever look at the heart mesh, I didn't realize that until I researched it. The heart mesh looks like a vulture's eye. Like the way it looks.
Oh my god, you're right.
Yeah, like it's white. Yeah, it looks like it. It's like, oh my god, how did I not realize that?
That's crazy.
Yes. And she's trying to use this heart mesh to help people regulate heartbeats and prevent heart attack.
Stop clots before they even reach.
I guess you break it up. Apparently, I don't know how that would stop.
It would have to break them.
I guess before it gets to the heart, because that's where it does.
And before she said it would stop strokes too, so I guess before it even gets to your brain.
You don't like her because
no, I don't like her because I felt manipulated. Like I was like, oh, she's so genuinely sweet, and then it was just like, bro, it was an act. Yeah. Like she was cold.
But it's so funny because it's the siblings that get the most hate are Freddie, the oldest, and her.
Yeah, well, I see why Freddie, because he's freaking psycho.
Yeah, like she gets the most hate. And like, yeah, I see like people saying she was manipulative and like fake. But I also feel like she really did try to help people. Like she could have done a whole different thing than actually having heart mesh.
That's how I felt until she was ready to sign that.
But I feel like that was the pressure of her family. Like, you need to get human trials done now, and forcing her to do it.
But she was willing to risk that lady's life.
Yeah, that's the one part.
Yeah, it's just like, and that lady, she was...
Not like I'm defending her actions, it's just that I just see why she did it.
I know the lady is obviously Junie's mom, but...
Junie and Carmen's mom.
But, just like how she was saying, like, you know, in healthcare, you don't really trust the people, but I trust you. And it was just kind of like, damn, she trusts her, and she's just like,
and
sign the contract.
What do you like more, fame, being famous, or helping people, like being rich? But during that time, she was like being so paranoid.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to get her genuine opinion on that because she really was tripping.
Yeah, and in both cases, like the main character in the story and Victorine killed someone they loved, and I put quotations around love because I don't know how.
Yeah,
I get how the pressure was getting to her, and then she threw it at her, and it hit her upside the head. Even though she's dying, like she's gone. You can't save her, but like she's like, you're gonna tell them, and like really like try and make this death on her lover when she was really the one doing it. Like she wasn't taking accountability for killing her.
Yeah.
And then like that, the paranoia, the pressure, she really had a mental breakdown. Just forgot that she killed her girlfriend.
Not to mention that she put the sleeve on her dead girlfriend.
Yes.
I was just like,
she cut her open.
She really cut her open. And I just
the heart mesh on her heart,
and her heart was beating. It was just a dead heart. It wasn't really. I mean, it was technically beating, but it wasn't really doing anything. It's kind of like you being on brain dead. You're not really there. Like the machines are making you.
Yeah,
stay
it's
there.
like your heart, your body's alive, but your mind is gone.
Yeah, but for her, it was neither. The heart wasn't even alive. It was just still moving.
Yes. There's also a split moment at the end when. Right before Victorine kills herself, where she switches. I think that's when Verna takes over, because she's like,
that's what I was gonna say.
If you had just jumped, I wouldn't be doing this. Even if he did jump, it wouldn't have stopped anything. Like, she was gonna kill herself anyway.
Yeah, I'm sorry, the line had to
I
go.
think even if he did jump, he probably wouldn't have died.
Yeah, I feel like he would have been in agonizing pain. They would be like, oh my god, a miracle. And they'd be like, yeah.
Look at him.
Right. No, because then everybody will take that drug and start jumping off the roof. Like,
doesn't work for me. The color associated with Victorine is orange. And I should have known that because in every scene she's wearing orange. Or something orangey, you know?
It goes good with her skin complexion.
It does. It really does. It makes her look good. But
yeah, I don't really know what
orange stands.
Yeah, like what characteristics or attributes would be going with orange.
Well, on the negative side, we have arrogance, which I can kind of
yeah.
Yeah, she was very arrogant. Pride.
Yeah.
Pride. Yeah,
definitely saw that in her. A lot of scenes where she was definitely prideful.
And the last one is superficiality. Yeah, that word. I can't say that word.
No, girl, there's some words I can't say too. I get it. Yeah, I see that in her. It sucked because I didn't see that when I first was like paying attention to her. I really thought she was being genuine and she really cared to help, and that just.
Well, I feel like she did care in a sense, but she also wanted to be famous and rich
and get her dad's approval.
Yeah,
and money.
Obviously, money. Then the next child to die is Tamerlane Usher and the Gold Bug, and honestly, her episode.
She killed Derek, so that's already why she died.
From Grey's Anatomy. She killed Derek from Grey's Anatomy. I forgot she was in that. She was in Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, that's what she did.
The range this actress has, it was amazing, and I loved her episode. Like, it was my favorite episode. And her episode, her episode has many different stories. I would say she has 3: the Gold Bug, Tamerlane, which is named after her. Well, she's named after, and then William T. Wilson. Those are the 3 stories that I think really encompass her story.
And Goldbug barely
encompasses. Barely, even though it's the title, it barely encompasses. Because all they really have in common is about this guy who uses a gold scarab as the way to find treasure to restore his family's fortune. Like, he's poor, he was rich before, now he's poor now. And apparently it's a treasure hunt, and the beetle, he sees these clues in the beetle that don't make sense at all. But apparently it leads him to treasure, and he's happy about it. And hooray! I guess happy story.
Yeah, maybe, but like I'm trying to figure out what his servant. Like, did his servant get a cut of that?
I know, right? And the servant in the book was called Juniper, and I feel like it was connection to Juno because he talked bad to that servant, and the way that Tamerlane.
Right, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, the way that Tamerlane talked bad about Juno every scene, like.
Yeah, she did. I felt like there was like one moment where when Juno was opening up and she felt bad.
She was just staring at her though.
Yeah, I know. I wish she knew how. I wish
feel like
they took empathy classes, all of them, except for Leo. I feel like he had empathy, but the rest of them need to take empathy classes. Girl, you staring at me like that? I'm like, never mind. Recant my story. Don't ever look at me again.
But it's like so funny because Tamerlane is like separated from her emotions. Like she can't really reach out. Like you see her when she's she yells at her husband, but then she's like apologizing, but she can't really do it to his face. Like it's always she's
what's
like,
the word? Dissociate? What is it?
Dissociate.
Not displacement. You know, we'll figure out the word. We'll come back.
We'll put it up.
Yeah, because we can't think of it right now.
Right there. But that's what her story goes with Goldbug, and then the other story, Tamerlane, which is obviously it's very obvious about this guy who, you know, chooses fame and his job over love, and he conquers all this land, and he's a big conqueror of his own kingdom, but he regrets it at the end because he ignored his love, which we see in Tamerlane in the show when she chooses to put everything in her company and ignore her husband and really like regret how she treated him. Like she treated him horribly. Like she really did.
It sucked because it was projection.
And he really loved her. Like he put up with so much crap.
Sure did. All
and
those
like
weird women.
I just hope to have a love like that.
I kind of have that.
Well, lucky
I mean,
you.
I'm not doing all the things she's doing, but I definitely have a sympathetic boyfriend.
Yeah, like he was so understanding to like pull up with all the crap she was putting on him.
Yeah, because like, girl, like, if I love you and you're making me sleep with all these other people, we got a problem.
Yes. And then the third story is William T. Wilson, which is what her husband's name is.
Yes.
But it's really William T. But they call him Bill T. Wilson. But you know,
for some reason, Bill is nicknamed
I don't know
William.
why.
We don't know.
Yeah, I don't know why William is Bill. But in that story, it talks about this guy whose name is William T. Wilson, and he is arrogant, rich, all that assholery. And he finds out there's another guy with his same name. And he like sneaks into his room to find out that the guy looks exactly like him, like a doppelganger. And I know how much you love doppelgangers.
Oh, but I'm about to jump out this window.
Brenda hates doppelgangers.
I hate doppelgangers. I had a dream about doppelganger. Don't like it. See, I might be the evil doppelganger because I see you and it's on sight.
Oh my god!
It's only be one of us.
Well, apparently, so after meeting his doppelganger, he gets freaks out, moves to a new school, and ever since then, his doppelganger's like been following him around, following his plans, and like messing up his life.
The evil doppelganger. See, that's why you need to get him when you first see him.
Oh my god! Well, I feel like the evil doppelganger would kill you, which is why in Vampire Diaries, when they said that Catherine was Elena's doppelganger, it's really the other way around, and Elena should really be trying to get at Catherine.
All I know is that just because your doppelganger don't kill you that moment don't mean that they don't have it in sight. He was tormenting him, so it was probably about the chase before it was about
but
the kill.
William was a horrible person, and he just fooled his plans.
I'm not gonna say
he was nice.
Yeah.
But so William at the end is trying to get with this married woman, and yet again his doppelganger foils his plans, and so he after that he gets really mad and chases him down and like tries to fight him, takes a sword and like stabby, and then turns out he was stabbing a mirror, and in that mirror he was also stabbing himself, and he killed himself.
I just realized I messed up.
Yeah,
I'm going to die. See you on the other side.
And you can see the use of mirrors in Tamerlane's house. Like why does that girl got so many mirrors? It's on every inch of the wall.
She's freaky, and she probably want to see it from every angle of her husband with some other woman.
And it also shows like how she was very vain. Like she always had to look at herself, but also I feel like mirrors also distance yourself from also like your reflection. And it points out your flaws, and she was just trying to ignore them.
I have a love-hate mirror. It's like I like to look at my reflection in a mirror, but I've already done different mirror type TikToks, and I don't really like them that well.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they're kind of like
Also, Tamerlane's color, if you didn't notice, was green.
Yeah.
Because when she was dying, everything was green.
Yeah.
Actually, I feel like her death was shot very beautifully, the way the color.
Yeah, because even when she jumped up to hit that mirror, I was like, why did she jump like that?
It was like elegant, though she was smashing a bunch of mirrors. Like green obviously is jealousy. She was not only was she jealous of like her brother Rodrick, because she always pokes fun at him at like in everything, like he gets everything he wants even though he's like incompetent, and she was jealous of the way people treated, mostly her father treated him because he was next in line. But she was also jealous of like other companies like Goop, that they said that she was like copying all the other health brands that they said she was copying, and how green also symbolizes materialism. And she had a lot of stuff. Like there's that one scene where she's about to die in that couch, that like that chair is a chair in the background. That was such a nice chair. I want that chair. It was really
Charmy wants that chair for Christmas. Yes. Y'all.
Give it to me. It was a really nice chair. Like I would love to sit in that. But honestly, like I feel like green like emulated her very well, and she looked good in green.
I just thought it was ironic that she was accusing him of cheating, but she wanted him to sleep with women in front of her. It's like he technically is cheating. Like
it's only cheating if I don't approve of it. Okay, if I approve of you sleeping with someone else, it's not cheating apparently to her.
What's the point of the vows? Yeah,
I know, right? Also, I feel like the mirrors also symbolize that Tamerlane was her own worst enemy.
Yeah,
and she even says that like I effed it up, I messed it up, and like girl, yes you did. You messed up your marriage. You messed up. Well, I kind of blame you messing up the company launch on Verna because she was making you see shit.
Not even that. Like their whole like them not being able to sleep.
Oh like, yeah, she was messing with their sleep, man.
Yeah, she could not sleep, and that we you know, I mean the Russian sleep experiment is creepypasta allegedly. You know, you got some people who think it's real, but going without sleep can definitely cause hallucinations. Yes. So
it's so funny that one scene.
Miss Tam, did you just fall asleep in mid-sentence?
No. But say that again?
You can't even sit upright because you're so tired. I haven't seen you sleep in like, I mean, it's been a fucking long time, Tammy. Like horror movie long.
Well,
I was laughing so hard when he said that.
Yeah, I know, because like if I never saw my partner sleep, I would be like, are you a vampire? You tell me right now.
The last child to die is Fredrick Usher, also known as Freddie, and the story that correlates with him is the pit and the pendulum.
Ooh, Freddie, you suck.
And the pit and the pendulum centers around a man who was a part of the Inquisition. You know, the people who went around, for religious stuff.
Purposes.
And and he is a prisoner, and they put him in a room. And first he wakes up as pitch black, and he's like feeling around. And he feels like this hole, meaning like the pit. And he almost falls into it, but he doesn't. He like backs away. And then he like passes out again, and he wakes up on a table, strapped to a wooden table with a pendulum swinging above him, slowly going down like every few hours, I think. And so
yeah, like that Saw. Was it Saw 3?
Yes.
Saw 3 or Saw 4?
This is like the original Saw trap, y'all. Like Saw's like the people who did Saw read this was like, hey, what if this is cool and we put this in a movie?
Right. Definitely a memorable one.
Yeah. And so he's strapped to a table, and they left him food for some reason. I don't know why they just didn't kill him outright.
Because I feel like it was about the game.
The mental torture.
Yeah, it was the game to them.
Yeah, well, they suck. And so he puts food on his straps to get the rats to eat. I weigh at his straps to release him. I'm like, where are these rats coming from? I guess from the hole. But,
yeah, probably.
And so the rats break him free, and he's like gets off from the pendulum. So he's safe from the pendulum. He knows where the pit is. And then this is when it gets really weird, because they reminded me of the platform. Like the walls get hot and start pushing in on him to get him to go inside the pit. And I'm like, what kind of technology does these people have? Like, how do they got this? And like, we don't even have that now. Well, do we have that now? I guess we do.
I don't know. The government be hiding stuff.
I guess we would have that now. But like, how do they got that in post time? It's so weird.
You know, we do have that because we have heated floors now. So, yeah we definitely have that.
And it pushes him closer to the hole and when he falls in, someone catches him. And I'm like, where have you been? Like, how's the walls just disappear and this guy's able to catch you? But let's not talk about logic. That's the story of the pit and the pendulum. And it goes with Freddie. Well, it's no pit. It's just the pendulum part. I guess you say, like, the hole he dug himself into.
That's true. Could be the pit, yeah.
All the bad things he did to make the audience not like him was his pit.
Yeah, that was his pit.
Like, he fell in real hard.
Because
at first, I didn't think nothing of him.
Me neither. I didn't have no ill will towards him or nothing.
He was just there.
Yeah.
But then when he did that, when he started, torturing his wife and when he pulled her teeth out, which is another Edgar Allan Poe story. Like,
Yeah.
he was crazy.
Like, the way he was like, well, he was just lying to his daughter, so she was already losing trust, and then he snapped at her, and it was just kind of like, even she was just kind of
yes, because when you first meet him, he won't cuss in front of her.
I know.
And then when he snapped,
sorry.
Yeah, and when he snapped, he just started full on cussing, and I'm like, okay, well, she totally sees that you've changed.
Not to mention, he was like definitely doing coke, so he was already, his behavior was already erratic, like, and it was noticeable, and his daughter definitely noticed that change in him. I feel like that also, like, him doing coke was why his lies weren't logical, because, sir, you can't keep telling her every day that the specialists are gonna come and she don't ever see them.
Yeah, and you won't let her see the mom.
Right, and when she did see the mom, the bandages were old, and it's just like, she knew somebody wasn't coming. Like, you have a very intelligent daughter. Stop trying to play her.
Mm-hmm. When it comes to the teeth, the story that Poe wrote called Bernice comes to mind. It's about this guy who marries his cousin. Well, he's engaged to his cousin. And she's very, like, lively and outgoing. He's very more to himself, intellectual. And every once in a while, he gets obsessed with something. And he got obsessed with her teeth. Like, he just kept thinking about it and staring at her and everything. And one day she dies. Because, you know, they just die back in the day. And he goes into her grave. And then he blacks out. That's what he says. He blacks out. He wakes up. His clothes are dirty. And they find out that her casket has been disturbed, and that she was actually alive, and that she came back, you know, resurrection, because he always talks about resurrection. And he's like, oh my god, she comes back to life. And then he, like, checks his, I think he either checks his coat pocket or something, and there's teeth in it. So he, like, blacked out, went inside her casket, pulled her teeth out, not knowing she was still alive. Yes.
I didn't even read that story.
Yes, and it's so crazy, like, how they put that into the Freddy story.
Yeah.
But his point was out revenge.
Yeah.
And, like, but he was all, like, the thing he said to her is when they first met is that her smile was pretty, and that's what he was attracted to. And so when he's like, your smile, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that guy wasn't trying to torture his dead wife, but at some point she was probably screaming, you're ripping her teeth out, so.
The color associated with Freddy is blue. And I didn't, like, he wears blue, you know, on occasion, but I didn't really see it until he died. And you see, like, this big blue light shining on him. Like, the whole scene is completely blue.
Yeah, it is. I thought it was shot through a blue filter, but yes. Yeah, blue, I guess, because he, towards the end, he was cold. Yes,
it was like, blue is also connected to, like, being cold and impersonal, even unfriendly, which I didn't know that blue was associated with that.
Well, I guess if you're cold and impersonal, I'm definitely gonna assume you're unfriendly. So,
and a deep blue can be symbolized as night or darkness, and I can see, like, his dark side that he always kept hidden.
Yeah, because I never thought he would do that.
Me either.
Yeah, no.
Also, Freddy's wife Morella comes from the Poe story Morella, where this guy marries this woman, and he's not really interested in her, and she knows that, but she gets sick and bedridden, and as she's dying, he's just, like, praying she dies.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And as she's dying, she keeps giving him all these philosophical ideas and notions and stuff. She tells him, like, you know, once I die, you're gonna, like, regret it and stuff like that. And she dies, and she was pregnant. And, like, she gives birth as she dies. So as she gives birth, she dies. And he was like, oh my god, I have a baby now. It looks just like the mom. And he doesn't name her for, like, 10 years, which I thought was weird.
What did he just call her, child? Girl?
I guess so. And then he falls in love with her. And so...
Like, sexual love? Or like,
no.
Oh, okay.
Like, father-daughter love.
Okay. Just make sure.
And he falls in love with her, and he's like, oh my god, I'm gonna get her baptized, I'm gonna name her. And so he gives her baptized, and he names her Morella after the mother, and then as soon as he does that, she dies. Yeah. And
I don't even know what to say. Thanks, Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah, it's like, it was so weird, like, that the mother and daughter were the same. And I was like, how does this really relate to Morella, the character in the show? And I was thinking maybe, you know, the burning of her skin, the renewing is like the new child being born, but honestly...
I don't know, I've kind of felt like, I know it's kind of a little bit reverse for this story, but her daughter dying, she inspired her to, like, to do what she did. Like, she created charity, she helped domestic violence victims. Like, she really went out, and it was crazy when she was telling her how many people her mom saved, and then those people saved other people, and it was just
in her daughter's name.
So
Morel is also another name for nightshade, which is what he was using to paralyze her. Yeah.
Yeah, and then ultimately he snorted it up himself. Night night, Freddy. I don't know. That was too close to Five Nights at Freddy. I don't like that.
And then, like, the saddest death will have to be the granddaughter, Lenore. Yeah. And obviously hers goes with The Raven, the popular poem from Poe. And it's all about, this man being punked by a raven. Really?
Yeah, I know. Like, I mean, yeah, the raven was, like, talking crap, but, like, who cares what the raven had to say? But he really cared.
Yeah, it was really talking about how he's lost his love, Lenore. And he was really asking the raven if he was ever going to find love or happiness again. And the raven said, nah, never more. You're going to be in this miserable depression for the rest of your life.
This is why you don't ask Raven stuff. Okay? You just figure it out on your own, or a higher deity, but not a raven. Yeah, her death was really the saddest because she was probably the purest out of all of them.
She really was. Yeah. Even with Freddie and Morella as her parents and like Rodrick as her grandpa, like she was still pure.
Yeah, she was.
Even though I feel like she didn't know nothing about like the company.
She didn't. But I think she kind of once the trial and stuff started happening, I think she was kind of getting more informed on it. Like I think she kind of knew like, okay, this company's not doing something good.
Yeah, she probably been the one to like shut down the company if she had the chance.
Yeah, if it would have fell in her hands, I think so. It wouldn't have been about pushing drugs that were harmful.
It would have probably been what Juno was doing, like rehabilitation for people on the drug.
And even probably trying to find a natural way to ease pain. Yeah, her death was the only death I felt like really hurt him. Like I'm not gonna say his other kids didn't hurt him, but that was the one death that you definitely saw him crying.
Yeah, like he was holding her.
Yeah, he was crying. He was hurt. So I was like, at the funeral, well, maybe because they didn't really like hang out with each other like that, but they just seemed so cold, except with the exception of
Leo.
Yeah.
Before we get into the twins, another Usher we should talk about is Annabelle Lee Usher, who was Rodrick's first wife. Yeah, his first wife. And like the poem that's associated with her is also called Annabelle Lee. It's about love and how this guy loved this woman named Annabelle Lee and how she died. And even though she died, their love was so strong that it like made the angels in heaven and the devils in hell, I guess demons in hell, very jealous of their love because even death couldn't keep them apart. Can't say the same for the show version.
Yeah. Maybe she was super in love with him.
Like he loved money and fortune and fame more, so
I know I felt bad for her.
I did too. She was pure like Lenore.
She was very optimistic. She was pure, like you said.
It was really sad, and like how she died, right?
Yes.
Like she shot herself, which I thought was an interesting choice. Because I know she lost her children and everything, but I feel like
they chose the money over her. I don't know, man. I don't have kids, but every time my niece leaves,
you get sad.
It really pulls me down. I can't imagine if my kids were just like, I choose dad over you, and it's like, wow. I mean, I wouldn't take my life. I would have to keep pushing on, but I can understand that pain and that hurt. It would just be like someone like punched you in the chest. Like it would hurt to know that I birthed you, I raised you up, I lost sleepless nights, you know what I mean? And you're just like, bye, I'm picking dad and money.
And now we're going to talk about the twins and the story that correlates with them, the fall of the House of Usher, which centers around the last two of the Usher line, Rodrick and Madeline Usher. And Rodrick like sends a letter to his friend, who I don't think he named him in the story, but he tells his friend to come visit him, and so his friend does. And Rodrick is losing it, like he's going crazy. He keeps hearing things, and Madeline's sick and bedridden, and she can't move, and he just gets worried about like their family line. And one day Madeline dies, and her death really struck a chord with Rodrick, and he starts losing it even more. They bury her inside their house, and so he like walls her up in a room and leaves, and like he's like losing his mind. And as he's becoming increasingly unstable, one day they start hearing a pounding, and even the narrator hears this pounding, and then Madeline busts out the grave again, another resurrection story, and she chokes Rodrick. And like Rodrick is like getting choked, but he also dies from fear. And then the narrator runs out because she just burst out the grave.
I do the same thing.
And the house starts to crumble and fall in basically collapses. It's what we see in the show as well. But in the show, Rodrick does this whole, like, Madeline's obsessed with, you know, immortality, and a lot of Egyptian attributes are applied throughout the show.
Yeah.
And he basically mummifies her, uses all the Egyptian tools they used back in the day. You know, I guess he pulled out her brain. But yeah, because they showed the thing that they used to pull out the brain.
Maybe he didn't pull. Maybe he started. He was just like, "This is too much."
But then he took out her eyes and put the stones in her eyes.
Yes,
and
he did that.
And he did all that, and then she still wasn't dead. And she busts out and she chokes Rodrick out. But
she chokes Rodrick out.
Well, she does. But the thing that they also added was Rodrick. You know how in the story he's going crazy. Well, in the show, it's an illness called CADASIL that is like, I guess it's like a heart problem that also causes delusions.
I'm assuming not enough blood flow to the brain must be causing it.
So it really actually makes you think that all the stuff he was saying throughout the show, all the like
crazy jump scares,
was that really his mental illness, or was it the Raven / Verna telling him, like, showing him this?
Maybe it's a mixture of both.
Both.
I mean, because even with their deaths being like crazy, they were still explainable.
Yeah. So. And also he knew the things that were happening to him before they even died. Like step by step what happened. And even Dupin was like, how do you know she was in her room writing this and this down? He's like, because she told me. So I'm like, it can't just be his imagination or his illness telling him this. He must actually be haunted by his children's ghosts.
Or Verna.
Or Warner, yeah.
Yeah, and it's crazy because in the story it's his friend, and like in the show it's like his ex-friend, because like he definitely betrayed him.
For context, Auguste Dupin was trying to do a case against Rufus, and him and Auguste Dupin and Rodrick Usher, you know, plan to like get together, bring him down, just for Rodrick in the end to like rat him out and turn on him, and that resulted in Dupin losing his job, but he then became a lawyer, so I guess it's okay.
It was crazy how, you know, Edgar Allan Poe loved the resurrection and graves being opened, and it started off with like him investigating graves being opened and stuff like that.
In the second episode.
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting that it started off like that.
Except for these bodies didn't resurrect. They were stolen.
They were stolen.
Just wondering what he did with those bodies. Probably put them in a furnace.
Yeah, probably.
Destroy all the evidence.
But basically, they were like forging their signatures and stuff like that. So they had to dig their bodies up so they wouldn't know that they were.
And they were part of the drug trial.
Yeah, a drug trial, and they didn't want any evidence against them. So
I want to know what that drug trial actually did. Now that they were doing all that just to cover it up.
I don't know, but it was killing.
It had to be really, really bad.
Yeah, really bad, because they were all the people who were in the drug trial. They went and dug their body. All of them who died. Well, I'm assuming everyone died. They went and dug all their bodies up, so there would be no evidence.
Also, their enforcer or their lawyer, Arthur Pym, who's played by the fabulous Mark Hamill, who's Luke Skywalker in Star Wars. I saw him in the trailer. I was like, oh my god, that's Luke.
I know. I was literally watching. I was like, is that Luke?
Yeah. And so he is from Edgar Allan Poe's story, The Narrative of Arthur Gordon Pym of Nantucket, and it basically is it's actually his like only complete novel. Arthur Pym, who stowed away on a whaling ship called the Grampus, which is also
what the ship of his granddaughter and his son
were doing.
Yeah,
and what Lenore called Rodrick in the first episode.
So many like
connections,
like Easter eggs. It's so crazy.
And like the character, all the stuff that character faced in the story, they actually hinted to it in the show when she talks about how he was on the ship and how they did a mutiny and they left the guy in the desert, and what they did to the woman, and all that stuff is also alluded to what happened in the story that he wrote. And so, like, all the craziness and even cannibalism, which I feel like happened in the show, but they alluded to it. They didn't really say it, but they like hinted at it.
Wait, I know you're talking about the part where Luke, I'm just kidding, that's not his name, when he injected her and tried to wrap her up like mob style. But what did he actually say? Like
it was so when after they did that, they had to sit down and talk, and she was talking about how all this devious stuff they did on that trip, how like impressed her, like Verna.
Oh, she's telling Luke that all the things he did on the trip.
Yeah, but she said he didn't partake in certain things. I don't think, because she said in what they did to the woman, you didn't partake. So I'm guessing they SA her and then probably the other stuff to her. But she said he didn't do that, that he didn't partake in that. But she said that they left the guy in the desert that there was a mutiny, that all that stuff in that trip. And it even says that too. And what's his name? Rodrick is talking about Arthur Pym with Dupont when he was like, "What do you think Arthur Pym does?" He's like, "Well, I think if you kill a prostitute, he's the one who helps you get rid of it." And he's like, "Oh, he doesn't do anything that like mundane. Like killing someone is like child's play."
Yeah, right.
It's easy.
That's nothing to them.
He's been through some hardcore stuff, and all the stuff he's done, he won't even talk about it because it was so dark.
I don't even know how to feel. I don't know how I feel. Like,
but also like in that scene with Verna, she's like, "What kind of?" When she makes a deal with him and says, "What do you have to trade?" And he's like, "Nothing, because I don't have anything over me."
He doesn't have any personal ties to anything.
Yeah, he doesn't have something you can use against him.
No leverage.
Yeah. And the last character we're gonna really discuss is Juno, the stepmom, Rodrick Usher's second wife. And I don't think there's Juno, I connected her with Juniper in the Goldbug story, the slave.
Oh, okay.
Well, I guess, was he a slave? Was he a former
I don't
slave?
know what he was, because he wasn't getting treated well, so.
Yes, like, and Juno in the show
Servant.
Juno in the show doesn't get treated well by any of the children, or really anybody. Even, like, Madeline talks down to her. And
Madeline talks down to everyone.
And it was so funny because I was reading Goldbug and I had no clue what Juniper was saying. It was like the way they wrote it was like massive. It was broken English.
Yeah, it was.
And I was like, what did he just say? And sometimes when Juno from the show was talking, I was like, in her accent, I was like, what did she just say?
Yeah, she spoke pretty fast.
Yeah, and I was like, I have no idea what she's saying.
Also, don't come for me, but it literally took me like 2 to 3 episodes to realize that she was
his wife.
No, that she had an accent. I didn't even notice that. I just didn't know what she was saying. I was like, okay, well, read subtitles.
There are so many references from Poe's stories in this show that if we talked about them, this video would have been like hours long. So here's some honorable mentions.
You actually want me to send him an edible arrangement? I can't tell.
Toby, damn it, everybody knows that edible arrangements are what you send to people you hate. So yes.
How it hangs upon the trees, a mystery of mysteries. The boundaries which divide lie.
Lo, death has reared himself a throne in a strange city, lying alone, far down within the dim west, where the good and the bad and the worst and the best have gone to their eternal rest.
What did you think about the show? How would you rate it out of 10?
You know, I'd give it an 8. I really did like it.
Yeah.
It was very well written. A lot of Easter eggs. It was great. Like, especially when you start to relate the stories to the show, you see that.
Yeah, you see the connection.
You see that he put in a lot of like effort. Work, and yeah. So you know what? I give it a 9. I give it a 9.
I give it a 9 too.
Yeah, he worked his butt off, and that was a very good show. The acting was well done. I like the show.
I just wish that, you know how they showed the deaths of all the kids we did know about? I wish they had like Easter eggs of kids we didn't know, like have like, I don't know, a car accident from a character in one of his shows, like in like a like in the newsstand thing, or like on a newspaper, like, oh my god, and us audience thinking, oh, maybe that was a kid that he never got to know. That would have been a really cool thing to do.
Yeah, but don't tell the legitimate kids, because they was already mad they had to split the inheritance.
Also, so what is Verna? Is she a demon? Is she a goddess of consequence, death herself? Some people say she's a crossroad demon, like she gives you a choice and stuff like that. I don't know if I say demon, but there is hints to it, like when she said I went topside to see humans, and
I don't know, I just thought of her like as an unknown deity.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Like, I know you didn't read this story, but This Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. There's a character in there called Luke who's basically like, I think he just makes deals and like steals your soul and stuff. And I feel like when reading that and then watching this, I was like, she could totally be like that.
That makes me think of that one guy from American Horror Story, The Coven. We're not even gonna say Papa Blank. And how you can, I was like, we're not gonna say his name, but that you summon him and he grants you stuff, but there's
if you give him a child.
Yeah, there's always something in return. It's like innocence, and I think that night when they killed their boss, their innocence was like sacrificed. Oops, sorry. The innocence was sacrificed, and she was like, well, it's time to see if they want to make a deal, because they've already given.
That makes sense. Like, but I think if it was like, if you had
like, I feel like
kill somebody to summon her, but I feel like Arthur Penn would have got her a lot sooner.
Well, maybe not even that. It's like, maybe she knows people who were willing to risk it, like to make deals, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you're willing to go this far, like let's see what else you're willing to give.
Okay, yeah, I understand that. Also, I read this thing like how each of the kids can represent one of the 7 deadly sins, which is only 6 of them. But like how like Rodrick is wrath, not Rodrick. Fredrick is like anger, wrath. Tamerlane, I think, was envy. But I feel like more than one sin can be attached to a sibling. Like gluttony could also go for Tamerlane and Leo. Leo with his drugs, with Tamerlane with stuff. Like,
no, I would see Tamerlane as envy. I really think she was envious. Yeah.
Like pride for Victorine. But what would Camille be? They said sloth, like she's lazy, but I wouldn't say she's lazy.
Lust from her.
Lust?
Yeah.
But you can get lust with Perry too, because of the orgy.
Oh, I got Perry. I would say Perry is more of the gluttony for me. I don't think his gluttony is just about food.
But it could be drugs. It's just overindulgence of stuff. But so is Leo.
Yeah, but I feel like Perry's overindulgent, like him overindulging and stuff, was different than why Leo was doing it. I think Leo was like coping and like he couldn't sleep and he couldn't function and stuff like that. And I just think Perry, it was just like because he could. I felt like with Leo it was more of an addiction, and with Perry it was kind of just like, this is fun.
Have fun.
Yeah. Maybe Perry was like sloth and gluttony, because like he never really like fully like did stuff. Like he was kind of like half-assing it, you know what I mean? Like he wasn't giving it his all. It was just kind of like, yeah, here, I'm doing it. Yeah, okay. Like he could, if he really wanted to, he could be great. He just didn't want to. Like he just wanted to go about it the quick way. He didn't really want to put it in the work, and I see that as laziness.
Yeah. Also, I don't know about you, but did you get like a Jamie Cersei vibe with Rodrick and Madeline?
No, I didn't get like I didn't get that sexual tension that you see with Jamie and Cersei.
I guess not. Well, there's that scene where they're sleeping in the same bed together.
Oh yes, it's funny because I'm actually rewatching it, so it's when they're younger, right? Yeah. Yeah, I just noticed that it's when the mom comes in a house that you see
they're sleeping in the same bed.
In the same bed. I didn't really get that. I got because of the twinness that they're so close. Like,
I guess so. But also like their costume. The Great Gatsby, like he was Great Gatsby, she was Daisy Buchanan, and they were lovers. Those characters were lovers in the book.
Maybe then.
Yeah, I was like, they could have chose another character.
But it's like Jamie and Cersei would do anything for each other, and I feel like those two would throw each other under the bus in a minute.
Honestly, I feel like Cersei would throw Jamie under the bus.
You're right.
She would. For someone more, because she was doing that with Rhaegar. I know this is like a different story, y'all, but like you need to know that Cersei would have dropped Jamie for Rhaegar in a hot minute.
I think she would have did it, but I think she would have came back.
I don't know.
I think she would have.
Like,
but you know what? I feel like Jamie loved her way more than she loved him.
Yeah, because I get her having to sleep with Robert, for appearances, but you don't have to sleep with your cousin. You didn't have to. You did. He was already weak. You could have manipulated him in other ways. Anyway, that's a totally different story.
I will have to say with Camille. That's her name, Camille, right?
Yeah.
Her death was probably the most badass one, because she was just like, yeah, whatever. I'm just gonna take a picture. Like, I'm already about to die.
Oh yeah, when she was like, I'm gonna die. I ain't gonna be crying like a little. I'm gonna be like, ching ching. Ah!
She did. She's like, well, whatever.
What's my favorite death? I don't know.
What my favorite death to watch?
I guess you know what? The Pit and the Pendulum.
I was about to say that was the most satisfying to me.
Yes.
I have to admit, because he was like, I'm not gonna lie, Freddie kind of was on the back of my radar because I really wasn't paying too much attention to him. He really wasn't in a lot of clips, you know what I mean? So I didn't really have any like ill will towards him. He was just kind of like the forgotten son. Like he's the firstborn, but he still was like the forgotten. And then like his episode, I was just like, yo, him, like let him die. Like he was doing too much his way. Like even if he thought she was cheating on him, that was unnecessary. She's already, I think she got her like karma.
Enough. And also, like, we don't know if she was going to cheat. For some reason, like, she could have just been there to feel a rush again, just to get drunk and to dance,
to party and
party. Because you know, like, she's married now, she's bored with, you know, family life, and so she wanted to, you know, rock out.
Looking at Freddie, I'm pretty sure that sex life is vanilla.
But overall, we enjoyed this show.
I did.
And we enjoyed Edgar Allan Poe's stories as well. And
if they would just get to the point faster, it would be great.
I highly recommend this show to everyone.
Yeah, I do too. And if you don't want to read the entire stories, you can SparkNote it.
Yeah,
love technology.
Though they will, like, after a while be like, give me your email address.
Oh my god, do they really do that?
Yes.
Oh, well then use different links.
Yeah.
Well, you've made it to the end.
You must really like the sounds of our high-pitched voices and quirky commentary.
You might as well like and subscribe to our channel and hit the bell to be notified every time we drop new content. If you want to follow our social medias, they will be linked in the description box below.
Bye!
Peace! Don't sell your souls, gal!
Yeah, don't.